First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha Kudash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Song of Songs, the 6th chapter. Whither is thy beloved gone, O thou fairest among women? So here the daughters of Jerusalem, you could say, right, are now asking, right, in line with the story of the song that we've been going through so far, because in the ending of the 5th chapter, she was describing, right, her lover, right, her spouse, and how great and majestic he is. So the question here, right, where is he gone? So whither is thy beloved gone, O thou fairest among women? Whither is thy beloved turned aside, that we may seek him with thee? My beloved is gone down into his garden. That's her reply, because she was looking for him, right? Remembering that she got reproved by the watchman, or she, as the lyrics worded, she was wounded. So her response is, my beloved is gone down into his garden, which is likened unto his dwelling place, to the beds of spices, to feed in the gardens and to gather lilies. And the feeding in the gardens is not it's not like he's eating he's eating lilies over there, right? But it's in the sense of, like, when you read in the NLT, it says here to browse, okay, to browse in the garden. So he's going amongst the basically moving amongst the trees and the plants and so on in there. I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine. He feedeth among the lilies, right? So here, I am my beloved, and my beloved is mine, right? Basically going into um, the woman, right, claiming him and him claiming her, which also is likened onto, once again, the relationship here, right, that Solomon, had or desired with the Lord, but also the relationship that those that are the Lord's have, right? How I mentioned that about how he will be in you and you in him, okay, meaning that the Spirit of the Lord will be with you. And there are many other precepts that go into that. That when you look at the woman here, symbolic for for the believers or for the elect, and then the husband or the spouse or the lover here as symbolic for the Lord. Verse 4, thou art beautiful. So here the speaker changes, right? If we pull up here in the NLT, you'll see it says here, young man, right? So now this is switching to the perspective or the response by the man or the spouse, saying here, right, or the lover, thou art beautiful, my love, as Tirzah, right? So he compares her to a city that was presumably at this time considered, a flourishing or beautiful city. Comely as Jerusalem. Comely is saying beautiful. It's another way of saying beautiful. As Jerusalem, terrible as an army with banners. So let's read that in the NLT. It says, you are beautiful, my darling, like the lovely city of Tirzah. Yes, as beautiful as Jerusalem, as majestic as an army with billowing banners. Turn away thine eyes from me. So here you'll see he uses the same kind of language in describing, right, this rich, vivid description in describing the beauty of her, as he did in the previous chapter, right, where here he likens her hair to the flock of goats that appear from Gilead, which we went into that. But it says here, turn away thine eyes from me, for they have overcome me, right? It says, turn away your eyes, NLT, for they overpower me. Thy hair is as a flock of goats that appear from Gilead, right? And so, as we went into before, when you look up, I just typed in here, very simple, goats of Mount Gilead, and it's just dealing with like mountain goats, you could say. But just like you have sheep, different type of sheep, you also have different type of goats, where some look more bare like this, and that's like your traditional goat that people imagine. But some also look like this, where they have a lot of fur on them, and that fur tends to look like actual hair. Okay, like this is also even another example, right? Rich, dark hair. This actually looks like a woman's hair, when you look at that. So imagine a flock of these on a mountain, or descending in a herd together. It would look like hair, like hair flowing or blowing in the wind from a distance, and that's what he's likening her hair to. So more in a complimentary sense of being like rich, flowing. Verse 6, thy teeth are as a flock of sheep which go up from the washing, meaning white, whereof every one beareth twins. So imagine somebody's teeth being perfectly in line, right? Each one next to the other is just, there's no missing tooth. Everything is perfectly aligned. It's like if each of your teeth had twins. It says here, and there is not one barren among them, right? If you liken the teeth onto having children, then one barren would be like you have a missing tooth. So it's old poetic English for this compliment here, or this description here, right? Verse 7, as a piece of pomegranate are thy temples within thy locks. That temples is in reference to like the cheek area. So you see it says here, your cheeks are like rosy pomegranates behind your veil. Remember, this is a song, right? So there's this back and forth. In fact, it's a love song. So there's this back and forth between the woman and then the man, and then she says this and then he says that, but then there's parts in there where you can see the clear sort of symbolic references, right? When you look at the woman here being being the feminine representation of Solomon, and then the man being the Lord. And then also you can draw other parallels with other scriptures, that are in the book. Okay, so that's why it reads like that. So as it says here, as a piece of, where is that? Your cheeks are like rosy pomegranates behind your veil. That's what it means by within thy locks. There are 60 queens. 60 is 60. All right. So there are 60 queens and 80 concubines, and virgins without number. My dove, my undefiled, is but one. So here he's saying, of all the women out there, I'm choosing you, right? There's only one of you. She is, and that once I finish reading this verse, right, I'll get a precept which dealing with the Heavenly Father's relationship with Israel, right? When you go to 2nd Ezra, the 5th chapter, it mentions that, right? Of all the people, he chosen one, one people, just like of all the women, the lover here settled on her, or didn't settle, but chose her. My undefiled is but one. She is the only one of her mother. She is the choice one of her that bear her. So of all the children, if any, or if any others of her mother, she would be likened unto the best one. The daughters saw her and blessed her, yea, the queens and the concubines, and they praised her. So there is none like her. I would still choose my dove, my perfect one, the favorite of her mother, dearly loved by the one who bore her. The young women see her and praise her, even queens and royal concubines sing her praises, because there are none that are like her. So real quick, since I'm already here in 2nd Ezra 4, let's move on to the 5th chapter and the 27th verse. It says here, and among all the multitudes of people, thou hast gotten thee one people, and unto this people, whom thou lovest, thou gavest a law that is approved of all. So you can see the parallels there, right? Just how of all the people out there, the Lord chose one, and of all the women out there, as the song continues, the lover here chose one, which is her, later on identified as the Shulamite. Who is she that looketh forth as the morning, fair as the moon, clear as the sun, and terrible as an army with banners? Once again, this is him still continuing to speak concerning her. Who is this arising like the dawn, as fair as the moon, as bright as the sun, as majestic as an army with billowing banners? I went down into the garden. So now this is her response. I went down into the garden of nuts to see the fruits of the valley and to see whither the vine flourished and the pomegranates budded. So it says, yeah, I went down to the grove of walnut trees and out to the valley to see the new spring growth, to see whether the grapevines had budded or the pomegranates were in bloom. Or ever I was aware, my soul made me like the chariot of Aminadab. So NLT, before I realized my strong desires had taken me to the chariot of a nobleman. Now, when you go into the word here or the name Aminadab, it's not really in reference to an actual person, but it says here I'm, and which goes into people and so on. But it says where we have figuratively a tribe, nation, people. Let me see if there's let's look at that word chariots. But in other words, what she is saying here is in line with the lyrics. She goes to the garden, right, to see the pomegranates and all these things. But before she realized it or realized what was happening, her emotions carried her away. And so you see some of the other translations deal with Aminadab more like like the chariots of royalty. So in other words, before she knew it, she was carried away with great intensity, like someone who was, swept away or swept along with royal chariots here. But it's just kind of like saying losing control and getting caught in your emotion here. Return, return, O Shulamite. So you see here, this woman in which, we've been reading about for these chapters is called here by you could say the daughters of Jerusalem, or the women or the audience in the world of this story, referring to her as the Shulamite. And when you look at that word or that name here, Shulamite, it says the perfect or the peaceful, the heroine lover of the Song of Songs of Solomon. Now, when you come down into I wonder if they'll say it here as well. Okay, so they don't say it here in the Brown lexicon, but in the Jacinius's Hebrew Chaldee lexicon, it does say, right, that this may be taken as the feminine form of Solomon. See, so that Shulamite is really in reference to Solomon, right? These lyrics have really been about him. So as it says, right, return, return, O Shulamite, return, 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 that we may look upon thee. What will ye see in the Shulamite? As it were the company of two armies. And let's read this in the NLT as well. So here the young women of Jerusalem say, return, return to us, O maid of Shulam. Come back, that we may see you again. And the young man says, why do you stare at this young woman of Shulam as she moves so gracefully between two line of dancers or dancers? So you can see there are different interpretations or translations of the armies. The NLT goes with not in reference to actual armies like war, as it wouldn't really fit the theme of what's being said in the chapter, but more so the armies being like camps of dancers here. And that leads also into the 7th chapter. So that brings us to the end of Song of Songs, the 6th chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachah Kodesh. And until next time, Shalom.